Okay, welcome to what will probably be the last video for the year. And it's quite fitting that we're talking about the end of year special edition of the Weekly Macro Theme. So if you've been following this channel, you probably would first of all realize that this report, just from a very quick glance, looks quite different from the usual format. And that's with good reason. It's the end of year special edition. And in this report, we go through really what worked, what didn't work in 2017, what were the highlights, in terms of my favorite charts, those for it with an honorable mention, and a bit on the People's Choice charts, and of course the ones to watch for 2018. So what I wanted to do with this video is really just at a very high level take you through a couple of the things in here and just show you, pretty much what my thinking is with putting this report together. And of course also to direct your attention to the link which will be in the information section of this video. So if you're watching this from a different site, just click through to the YouTube location for this video and you'll be able to click through and download yourself a copy of this PDF, because we're doing that as a one-off, as a bit of a holiday treat. So it's a one-off free download of this report. So anyway, well look, I'll just take you through and have a quick look at a couple of the sections in here. So section A, the first one, is the charts that work. So this is some of the calls and charts that worked really well through the year, the ones that have got right. It's always good to celebrate your victories. It's also good to reflect on what you're doing right so that you do more of that. And so for the first one, I'm just going to show an example, and here's just a little bit of a description, the date of the report that the chart actually came from, and these ones are all actually up to date. So, picking the rebound in hindsight looks very easy on this chart, but if we just jump over to, here we are. So yeah, you can see there the leading indicator was obviously pointing in one direction pretty clearly. And whereas the world import volume growth year on year is just steadily trending down, and around that time there, so this was January, just after Trump had been elected, probably, and at that stage not even inaugurated. This was the 13th of January, and when there was this big sort of theme or meme of this whole protectionism, political risk, etc. And so, picking a rebound in global trade in 2017 is certainly a non-consensus call at the time. And then, and then you can see there in the black line, this is the most updated data for that one. It's worked out pretty well. So and I mean, it's pretty much the same format for the rest of them. I'll let you download the report and read it for yourself. I guess probably that one's quite interesting too, actually, just to mention in passing. So if we jump back to that report, because it was actually from this one as well. So it's a little cycle analysis exercise. So, I mean, cycle analysis, you measure from peak to trough, or trough to trough, peak to peak. But in this exercise, it's trough to peak, because that's what we're sort of interested in finding out. And I was interested in finding out what was the average move in months and magnitude from trough to peak of the ISM manufacturing PMI. This little exercise here suggested it could go to 59.1. If we jump back to the report, it actually ended up going to a peak of 60.8, so not far off, a little bit better. And yeah, and that red dot there is sort of like a projection of what the DM composite PMI could end up looking like, and we've got that in this report actually. So if we go down, it was actually one of the ones from the charts that didn't work, which I'll talk a little bit more about. So you can see here, it wasn't actually that far away from that, a little bit lower, and anyway, that one, throughout the year, I mean, it was pointing to higher bond yields across, pretty much across the year, but particularly lately. And so this is the one where, I kind of half jokingly say that it may well be a case of not wrong, but just early. And, that is a type of wrong, but certainly one that could easily be put in the ones to watch for 2018 section. But one that was not that good was this one. It was interest rate differentials if you're using the shadow policy rates, and you can see there that it was suggesting, quite a optimistic, bullish scenario for the US dollar, which clearly did not come to pass. So on to the next segment. The next one is section C, my favorite charts. This one here is actually one of my favorites, partly just because of the way I put together. It's global lending standards and global policy rate. I think that this one will be underappreciated, but I think it's quite insightful and quite a very interesting representation of the prevailing winds on the policy and financial conditions front. One that's going to be quite key, and key to watch as well in terms of how it changes. I think this one here is also going to be underappreciated. The income gap. So this is in the black bars. Those are the developed or advanced economies, and the red, it's the emerging and developing. And you can see there, obviously both of them are growing across time. The grey line here is the ratio of advanced to developed, and it's GDP per capita. So basically you can see there that the income gap, or the ratio, so back in 1990, developed economies, their GDP per capita was 8 times that of emerging developed, and that gap's closed from 8 times down to 4 times now. And I mentioned in there that probably not going to see that go to parity. We're probably not going to see it go to 1-for-1, but we could get a lot closer with a lot of themes like globalization. Globalization will come back. It's having a bit of a retrenchment at this moment with this whole populism movement, but it will come back. Structural reforms in the emerging market economies, and of course, really probably the biggest one is the impact of technology on inclusion, and enabling those economies to grow faster and grow their income, and of course actually to gain access to global markets, which I think is a big thing. And the rest of them, they're all pretty straightforward. I'll let you read them when you download your own copy of the report. Section D, so these are the ones to watch in 2018. These ones I think that will be quite interesting to most people. Just talking about some of the key ones that I'm going to be paying particular attention to, and the ones that I think are going to define the key risks and opportunities going into the new year. Section E, honourable mentions. Those charts worthy of mention but not quite fitting into the previous categories. So we've got the old Euphoria meter there. A couple of other interesting ones. A little bit on the oddball, but very, very much interesting, like this here one. Average pairwise correlations across the S&P 500 sectors, that's fallen back to .com levels. You can see this big transition away from the risk on, risk off macro trading environment to very much a more idiosyncratic environment now where the sectors are more or less doing their own thing. The section F, the People's Choice Charts, is a little bit of an unusual title. It's basically, I've gone onto the Top Down Charts Twitter account and gone into Twitter Analytics and downloaded a bunch of data and selected the most popular charts by views and engagement. So we've got here the first one, most popular one, is this very interesting chart here, an alternative view of volatility, and it's as low as 1966. So very much a sign of the times, and for obvious reasons that's the kind of chart that's going to get a lot of attention. And you can see the other ones there, they're quite interesting as well. And section G, the last one, bit of a fun one. I'll just focus in on number 5, my worst fear. My charts and graphs are easy to comprehend, fascinating. My perception's over here. And hopefully not, but boring, hard to comprehend to everyone else down there. So I don't, hopefully you're in this camp up here, but always open to feedback and improvement. So anyway, that's it. Happy holidays, and thanks for your support this year. Thanks for following us on YouTube, and if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, then go ahead and do that. We'll be putting out plenty of new videos in the new year, and if you've got any, requests, of course, by all means let me know, and otherwise, if you had any comments on this particular video, just put them in the section below. And of course, make sure that you click into the information section of this video. There'll be a link there. I'll also put a link in the comments so that you can go and download your own copy of this report, print it out for some holiday reading and reflection.